Tonight, we are so happy to welcome you to the Oakland Early College Open House. This is our second open house that we have given this month. Typically, we are in person at various libraries in Oakland County. Unfortunately, with COVID, it has limited our ability to be out and about and to have our open houses in person. And so we're happy to have this alternative for you tonight. Any questions that you might have, what we're going to ask you to do is use the chat to ask those questions. We are going to answer all questions at the end of the presentation. So overall, just to give you an idea of what tonight looks like, we will present to you for about a half hour or so, and then the final half hour will be used for a question and answer session. So if you have any questions right now that are in your brain and they're just lighting your brain on fire, you want to get them out, I am happy to have you put those in the chat. And like I said, we will answer all of those at the end. Wonderful. Okay, great. I'm seeing a lot of good information in the chat. So let's get started. I would like to introduce a few people tonight, including myself. First of all, I have to thank Mr. Dan Durkin, who is our Public Relations and Marketing Coordinator, for setting up this webinar for us tonight, as well as our Marketing Coordinator for Oakland Early College, Kim Randall. We could not host these events without the two of them, so we're very thankful for them. So again, welcome. My name is Ashley Larkin. I am the head of school for Oakland Early College. I am relatively new in this position. I've been in this position for about 9 weeks now. And just to give you a little bit of my background, I started as a student at Michigan State University, go Green. I was majoring in psychology and then quickly decided that was not for me. And so I changed my major to education while I was there. I ended up going to Wayne State University and got my master's in teaching as well as my teaching certificate. And then I thankfully landed in the West Bloomfield School District. I started as a social studies teacher. So I taught civics, student leadership, and world history. And I also became the student activities director in my second year there. So I spent a lot of time planning events for the school, homecoming, senior citizen prom, outreach programs. And so those are all things that are near and dear to my heart. After 6 years at the high school, I became one of the assistant principals. My predominant role as an AP at the high school was to be in the counseling office. So I oversaw many different things, but my big three things were the master schedule, social emotional learning for students, and overall college and career readiness. And so all of those things really translated very well into OEC. I absolutely loved my time at the high school, but the opportunity came about in mid-November when Mrs. Jennifer Newman announced that she was going to retire. She's absolutely beloved at OEC, so huge shoes to fill, but I was very excited for the opportunity as I really felt that all of the pillars of Oakland Early College really fit who I was both personally and professionally. And so we'll talk to you a lot about those things tonight, and I'm excited to share that with you. I also have two amazing OEC students with me tonight. I could not be more thankful that they have given up some of their time to be with us, because it's most important that you hear from them, because the students are the ones experiencing everything at OEC. So I have Deepti Ahuja, who is a 12th grade student, and I also have Seth Rostaker, who is a 12th grade student, and they are each going to take a minute to introduce themselves. So we'll start with Deepti.
Hi everyone, my name is Deepti. I'm currently a 12th grade student, like Ms. Larkin mentioned. I came to OEC when I was in 11th grade, so I joined OEC as an 11th grader. I found out about OEC from one of my mother's friend's daughter who went there, and one thing I love about OEC is that I get to take college classes that I find a lot more challenging for me, because my options when I came to OEC were either to take an IB diploma and go to a different high school like International Academy or Walden Lake Western, or come here and do dual enrollment and get an associate's degree. So I chose here because it's just something that made a lot more sense in my life. it was something where I had a lot more openness. I was able to like choose what I need to do for my future, as opposed to like following a strict structure. And my plan is to complete an associate's degree in science by the end of my 13th grade, and then transfer to, I'm still debating on colleges. I think I want to go to either Eastern or University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. I want to major in neuroscience so that I can become a neurosurgeon. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Very nice, Deepti. My name is Seth Rosker, and my current grade level is a 12th grade, as Miss Larkin mentioned. And my story would actually probably relates to a lot of the parents on this chat right now. I went to a very large high school, actually the one that Miss Larkin used to be the assistant principal at, West Bloomfield High School. And I just didn't like how big it was. You would see students in the hallway one day and not see them the next day until graduation. In my graduating class at West Bloomfield High School, there were hundreds and hundreds of people. At OEC, my favorite thing about it is we're a family. We're a small family. There's not that many of us, and my graduating class is barely 50 people. And so I know and am friends with almost every single person in my graduating class. And honestly, I couldn't thank OEC anything more than that. My plan is to get my MTA, which is called the Michigan Transfer Agreement. It is a agreement from community colleges to a majority of the colleges within Michigan. And it basically states that if you meet the qualifications and take the set number of classes, those credits will immediately transfer as those credits to a university or college that you are planning on going to, excuse me. And so my story is not that unique, but my plan after OEC is going to a 4-year or 6-year university and getting my either bachelor's or master's in something in the medical field. I'm not sure yet.
Thank you very much to both of you. So they will be my right hands tonight. I'll be presenting a lot of the information, but I've already warned both of them and they know they're well versed in this, that we'll be putting them on the spot throughout the webinar at times, because again, their perspective is the most important. So I just wanted to, for those that are unfamiliar with early middle colleges, give a little bit of a history lesson. This is also the social studies teacher and me coming out about how early middle colleges came to be or how they existed. So back in 1966, a woman by the name of Elizabeth Blodgett Hall founded Simon's Rock. And it was in Massachusetts, based on this belief that students might be ready to learn at a higher level earlier than 18 years old, right? Or before they graduate high school. And so it really was founded on this premise of, we have students that are ready for high intellectual work and we need to provide them with those opportunities. As you know, with funding, different things happen. It was first formed as an all-women's school. They offered a 4-year program. It was 2 years of high school and then 2 years of college. Most students would conclude then with an associate's degree. Because of funding, there were some changes. In 1970, Simon's Rock had its first graduating class, and it was actually coeducational. And then from there, Simon's Rock turned into Bard College. And so Bard College continued that mission starting in 1979 of educating students that were ready to start taking college courses within their traditional high school years. When we think about that early college transition, early colleges in Michigan are relatively new when you think about history overall. Mott Middle College is the first middle college that was founded in Michigan, and that was in 1991. And that school is on Mott Community College's campus in Flint. There's a variety of other early colleges that have popped up throughout the state, OEC being one of them. So Oakland Early College was founded in 2007. OEC is actually the third early middle college that was founded in the state of Michigan. And so there are a variety of middle colleges throughout Michigan, but OEC is really considered to be one of the four founding fathers, if you will, of early middle colleges. So here is just an overview of what we're talking about tonight. I will go through some points of pride with you. We'll talk about the 3 pillars of Oakland Early College, which are college, culture, and community. We'll look at a typical day and schedule, and then we'll talk about what our students do after graduation, some of which Deepti and Seth have already shared with you in terms of their goals for after graduation. These are just a few points of pride for Oakland Early College. We have several national best high school rankings, some of those coming from Niche and other organizations throughout the nation. We were named Michigan's ACT exemplar for college and career readiness. We did place in the top 4 of the nation for that. 100% of our students are enrolled in college courses. So we'll talk about what that looks like as we go throughout the evening. 100% of our students complete 40 hours of community service. Also worth noting, they also complete an internship in their final year. 100% of our graduates earn at least 30 college credits. So one question I get often when I'm meeting with families is every student guaranteed to earn an associate's degree? And the answer to that is no. It really depends on the student, what their ultimate goals are, and what their next steps are. And so students will earn at least 30 college credits, all the way up to 60 plus with an associate's degree. Most of those credits, depending on which school you're planning on going to afterwards, if you are planning on going to a 4-year university, are transferable, but you really have to do some legwork with your college counselor, your high school counselor, and yourself to make sure that those credits will line up and transfer. So you can see underneath where it says 100% of our grads earned at least 30 college credits. Most of our students averaged 52 credits. We also averaged a college GPA of 3.2. That was our most recent graduating class. And 42% of the 2020 graduating class earned an associate's degree, which we all think are pretty amazing accomplishments. So now is when we talk a little bit about the college piece, and this is where I really start calling on the students. I'll share some brief information with you, just an overview, and then we'll invite Deepti and Seth to both give some perspective on the college piece. So for those that may not know, we'll start with something very basic. We are located on OCC's Orchard Ridge campus in Farmington Hills. Right now, due to the pandemic, every high school class is in the same building. So as of this year, all high school classes are housed in the H building. That is not typical. It's not something I've experienced, but in non-pandemic years or normal times, the high school classes are spread around campus. So students will walk between buildings. It really gives that ultimate college feel because in college, you'll be walking between different buildings for different classes. Students take high school courses on campus, but they are welcome to schedule their college courses at any campus that exists in OCC's network. I do think that in just talking to a lot of students, and Deepti and Seth can shed more light on this in a minute, that a lot of our students do schedule their classes at the Orchard Ridge campus, but there may be specific programs or classes that are offered at a different location. Our students are really ingrained in the college experience. They take classes with any other OEC student that is signing up for a course. They sign up for classes on their own. They do have what I think is a wonderful luxury and access to 2 counselors, both a high school counselor and a college counselor. The high school counselor helps our students determine what their credit range will be, or in other words, how many credits they can take each semester. And then our students are required to meet with the college counselor to determine what types of classes they should take that would meet their degree programs or ultimate goals. So those are 2 resources that help our students in planning. Our students do not pay for courses, nor do they pay for required textbooks. The only things that our students pay for are any textbooks that are not required, or consumable materials. So as an example, let's say your student is taking an art class. The professor says, you have to go out and buy these oil-based paints for a painting we're going to do. The student would be responsible for purchasing those materials on their own because they would be consumable. As students move through the program, and this is definitely another thing Seth and Deepti can speak to, their schedule starts to change a bit. Our typical day is 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., but that's going to look different for students as they move throughout the program. If a student's starting as a freshman, they're likely on campus from 8 to 3. Students who are seniors might only be on campus from 8 to 10 and then have a large break where they're attending college classes. Or hours off, and their college classes are in the afternoon or evening. So I am going to open it up to Deepti and Seth. And if each of you can just share a little bit about what it's like to be in college courses, and anything you might want to share about the college experience.
Definitely. So currently I am taking 4, because one of my classes starts in March, but 3 to 4 college classes. So I'm taking an art class, a principles of financial accounting class. I'm having a self-defense class start in March, and I am also taking a biology class. So this is just my current semester that I'm working on. Previously, I've taken psychology courses and neuroscience classes, stress management classes, stuff like that. But during that time, my high school classes, I came to OEC and had 4 classes because I had finished a lot of my high school requirements. So I started off with 4 hours that were OEC hours, and then like in my periods, 4 periods. And then I had about 2 or 3 college classes the first semester I came in. Currently, I'm taking these 4, which I have a total of 12 credits worth of college classes, and I only have 1 period at school, which is my focus class, which I believe Ms. Larkin is going to talk about later. So she will cover that. But in terms of college life, it's really helpful to stay on the campus, especially when we were in person, because it's just so much easier to walk to your classes and not have to drive a distance anywhere. But since we all are virtual, it's actually opened up my options a lot more. I'm able to take so many more classes with so many more different professors, which I think is, it's a little hard for Zoom because some professors are not very comfortable with Zoom. So like they'll post asynchronously, but I do have many professors who have used Zoom for all of their classes, and they're very helpful in creating office hours, especially during this time. So in terms of the college classes, virtually in person, it's really, really beneficial. And since they are actual college courses, not, for example, like AP credits, which are college level courses of high school, you actually have the experience of professors. So when you leave OEC and go to an actual college, you get to literally have the same exact experience as opposed to a simulated experience. Seth, go ahead and add on.
All right, thank you, Deepti. That was amazing. I just have a couple of quick things. As when I was coming to OEC, my mom had so many different questions about the college courses and how they would work within my high school classes, because you're taking them both at basically the same day, the same time. And so the biggest question that at least my family had was, will my student get overwhelmed with the amount of college courses and high school homework and all these different attributes of our school? And the answer that I can give you is no. And the person that I can give all the credit to is our wonderful, well, 2 people, sorry, the college counselors and the high school counselors. They do a wonderful job of making sure your student is ready for the courses that they're taking, making sure that you have a credit range that fits perfectly into your schedule, into how many credits that you think your child will be capable with. And honestly, right now, I'm taking 9 college credits, and I have two high school classes, and I have a full-time job on the side. And honestly, I'm not very stressed out. I'm taking sociology, world religions, and composition too. Three very essay heavy classes. And honestly, I can say that they're going very smoothly, and I wouldn't trade OEC for anything in the world. And especially when we go back in person, I guess I could relate it to the Zoom calls as well. The professors don't know that you're an early college student or that you're a high school student. And so you truly get the college experience. You get that one-on-one professor and student connection, not the high school and professor connection, if that makes sense. You get treated as if you're just a regular student on campus, and you're in a class with all people from all different age ranges, and it's an incredible experience that will prepare you for everything ahead of your student. And I truly believe that.
Thank you. So just to reiterate one thing that Seth mentioned in terms of the professors not knowing that our students are early college students or high school students, you know, our students are really held to the same standard. And so we definitely respect or expect a sense of responsibility and maturity in our students that apply, because that is something that's very unique to this experience versus the traditional high school experience. So moving into what is, I will say, my favorite piece, which is the culture of OEC. And one of the reasons why I was so excited when the position became available, because OEC, like Seth had mentioned, is really a family. There are currently 168 students at OEC. And so it is a much smaller environment. It's much easier to build one-to-one relationships and connections and get to know one another. Because we only have 5 teachers in the building, they often teach different levels within the same subject area. So students will have the same teacher for multiple years, which is really, really nice because again, you're getting to know one another and forming some deep connections, which is great. Because we go through an application process, we really make sure that it's not only the right fit for the student that's applying, but it's also the right fit for OEC and the students at OEC. We have a culture to maintain. We often say mean people tend to go somewhere else. We have very kind, caring, compassionate students. We have students that seek to understand and ask questions and really embrace one another and who they are. One of the things that I absolutely love about OEC is that it's a safe place for all students to be who they are. Students aren't judged for their differences. They're really accepted and embraced. And so that has been something that's been very refreshing in a high school environment. In order to create that, we do a lot of different things, which I'll let the students speak to a bit more. One thing I will also say, just so you can get an idea of what our student body looks like, it is a very eclectic representation of people. We have students coming from private school, public school, homeschool, charter school. We have students from all different ethnic backgrounds, religions, different languages spoken in the home, varying political views, just everything, every difference you can think of wrapped into one package. That is what OEC is. And again, it's really a safe place to ask questions, be who you are. We have an amazing staff that works incredibly hard to provide positive experiences for our students. And students can just show up and learn. And that's something that it can be difficult, not to downplay the high school experience. Like I said, I absolutely loved being at the high school, but it can be difficult in a building of so many students. So those are some things that are exciting for us. And so, as I mentioned, to sustain that culture, we do some different things intentionally in order to keep that going. There's research that has been done, brain research, that shows that the more connected people feel and the more joy they feel, the better they will perform and achieve. And so it's the ultimate goal at OEC that our students feel connected to one another and to the staff in order to experience that joy and ultimately perform at their highest level. And so one of the things that we do that's very intentional to create that is called community time. Community time is built into our schedule. It's time where we might go off site to different field trips. We might do something on site. And so being so new, like I said, I have not had a ton of community time experience yet. So I'm excited that Deepti and Seth are here so that they can each tell you a little bit about it. So Deepti, we'll start with you again. If you want to share a couple community time events that have happened in the past that you've enjoyed, that would be great.
Definitely. Okay, so community time is definitely like it's like an added bonus to the free college courses. Okay, we've had multiple events in the past, and thankfully, so many staff members, including Ms. Larkin, Ms. Newman, our previous head of school, all the staff members have been so grateful, and I'm so appreciative of them that they've been doing their best to make sure that we have these events once again, even though we are virtual or hybrid, however you want to say it. So we used to have apple picking, which has been an every year thing. So what we do is we go down to, Seth, I forgot the name, so you're gonna have to say that one. We go and pick apples as a whole school, which I personally have never been apple picking for the first time in my life since last year. So that was amazing. We had apple cider, and like it was just so nice to have a field trip as a high schooler. And honestly, it hits all of the team aspect as well as the time aspect that is written on the slide. It's so nice to like have a group of people you can be with. And one of the best parts about that specific trip is you always get donuts and cider. Their cider is amazing. The donuts are even better. So this year, our high school counselor, Ms. Bellers, and one of our teachers, Ms. Melina, were so kind to go down there and pick up cider and donuts for us, even though we were hybrid. So we weren't able to do the apple picking, but we got the amazing food, and it was just so nice that even though we had to sit like 7 feet apart and in one space, 1 feet for the distance because we had our masks off, to eat donuts and cider, it was amazing. And we still had so much fun together, even though we were not necessarily outside anywhere. So just even that small little thing made us feel so special, and it bonds us all so well. That's something that we do like off campus. But then if you're talking about on campus, there are so many times where we'll just simply all meet and say for Halloween, I believe last year, we had people just trunk or treat. So everyone had gotten their cars, they decorated their trunks, and then we all just went trick or treating around the trunks. We've done an Olympics, which has been an every year type of thing that we do. So all of our classes will compete against each other in activities varying everything. So it can be as simple as like a potato sack race to we've had intricate games where we have to pass around a couple of balls in frisbees, but we can't touch each other's frisbees or like help each other in any way. And if anything falls, we all have to start over again. So building that teamwork is really, really special. It's so fun. And I think it helps in our leadership skills and our teamwork skills, not just like being able to meet people and have some social like time together. So everything has a purpose, which I think is really, really helpful.
Again, adding on to what Deepti said, at Irwin's Apple Orchard we go to every year. It's just the best time ever. With the teachers, they are just phenomenal at these field trips. They embrace their inner like student, they embrace their inner fun, and we see a part of our teachers and a part of the other students that we don't really get to see in a classroom environment. And we get to have that experience and have that emotional connection with our teachers and with our fellow students. So it makes our school feel that much more like a family, not even a school. We're a family at OEC. And another thing, I know I keep going back to the questions for the parents type thing, but when my mom was putting me into OEC and asking a bunch of questions like a lot of you are probably thinking. Her biggest question was, will my son still experience a true high school experience? And I can say yes to that, honestly. We thrive together. We are a team, we are a family, and we unfortunately last year due to COVID-19, we were unable to go on our bi-yearly Cedar Point trip that we usually go on for the seniors, and unfortunately we weren't able to go on that, but hopefully sometime soon when COVID magically goes away, we'll be able to go on our Cedar Point trip and experience that with our teachers and fellow students. Every year we either go to Cedar Point. Notice how I said bi-yearly we go to Cedar Point. On the off years that we do not go to Cedar Point, we actually have a OEC prom for the students who, because some of our students want to go to prom, our 12th graders, some of our 12th graders do not want to go to prom. And so we have a jack of all trades. We have first, but either way, either with OEC going to Cedar Point or OEC having a prom, you still have that team building attributes, and you still have that family building attributes. It's amazing. And with the apple picking, I'll mention that one once again. You honestly just, it is a community there that you will not experience anywhere else. And it's amazing.
Just to be clear, we don't only go apple picking, we do multiple other things. We've been to the DIA, we've done so many other things as like a group. I think last year we went on like some sort of a career fair, which was actually fun and informative at the same time because everyone had us do different activities. So like, say there was a company there from welding, they'd actually have us weld some metal together. Or there was a plumbing company there who had this amazing and really cute game set up where they had like those little kitty Fisher Price toilets, and then they had like sticks with magnets on them, and we had to actually figure out, but only using a camera and a screen, not looking at the actual toilet. So it was a little silly, but it was fun. It was something informative where we actually learned about all of this stuff. Then there were like hospitals who had so many different like actual things you could do there. So like there was a prescription company who helped, who gave us prescriptions for Skittles. So it was still something you learned. So it's informative, but once again, not only apple picking, it's just one of the most fun things that we like to do.
Yeah, we could definitely tell apple picking is the favorite if we haven't gathered that, families that are with us today. So, everything from bowling to roller skating, like Deepti and Seth mentioned, there are some that are educational, some that are just fun, right? Because it's about connecting and having fun and building the team. And so those are huge pieces of OEC and who we are. Getting into the last pillar, which is community. In full disclosure, at OEC, we believe that giving back is a habit. We want students at the school that are going to be givers and not takers. And so as a result of that, our students are engaged in acts of service throughout the entire school year. Sometimes they are more formalized service opportunities. We may take groups of students on a field trip, like you can see here, obviously no mask. So this was pre-pandemic when a group of students went to Gleaners Food Bank to package food. Last week now, we had students making Valentines for residents in a senior home in Farmington Hills. So those are types of things that we do throughout the year. We want students who will be engaged in the world around them because ultimately we are building people that we want to go out and enhance the world when they are done with OEC. And so that is definitely our goal. We want students who are committed to making the world a better place. And so giving back and community service is a huge piece of being a student at OEC. We'll mix it up. We'll start with Seth this time. Seth, is there any service activity that you remember that you want to talk about?
Yes, absolutely. So personally, I am the secretary for the National Honor Society, which for parents who don't know what the National Honor Society is, it is a uh, club or society. Uh, it's a national society where multiple high schools participate, and it's for students who want to give back to their community, but also have a good repertoire with grades and both high school and college grades. And so that is a huge thing, at least for me, that makes giving back so much more fun and so much easier. With the 5K that's right up there, we were National Honor Society and the student government that we have at OEC worked very, very hard on doing we do this every single year. It's a 5K. We usually do it around the Oakland Community College campus. It is a beautiful, beautiful journey. The picture on your left is the walk that we did last year in a COVID-19 friendly way. We made sure everyone was wearing masks and everyone was social distancing. Every student class, focus class went out with their focus teachers and walked on the trail across from Oakland Community College, because Oakland Community College was completely online, so unfortunately we weren't allowed to use their campus amenities. And so, but we still wanted to make that community time happen, and we still wanted to get the experience. So we made it happen. We bunkered down, and in a COVID friendly way, we made it happen. With our 5K, it also comes the 5K donation drive. In previous years, we have donated thousands upon thousands of items to different organizations around the Metro Detroit area. And this year was no different. This year, personally, I believe we donated around 6,000 items, if I'm not mistaken. And each of those items were donated in a COVID-friendly way and counted by hand by each and every one of our students. And everyone did an absolutely amazing job. Like I said, we all bunkered down. It was maybe a little bit rainy that day that we walked outside, but we still wanted to give back to our community and show up and show the world that at OEC, we don't let a little bit of rain or anything stop us. We are unstoppable, and we are an amazing family. Miss Deepti, go ahead.
So, definitely loved everything you said, Seth. Like I love being a part of it. It's just so fun. It's surprising. I actually didn't go out of breath with the masks on in the forest, even though I thought it would be like suffocating. So it was really nice to just breathe a little bit, even if it was through a mask. And you still got to like talk with people, and it was nice because this time we all had to stick together and no one just kind of ran ahead. So it was nice that we had to walk it. That was fun. And then personally, like Miss Larkin said, we can go on like some teachers may take us on small group events to give back to the community. So I did go last year to a bullying convention, just because it's a stop bullying convention. So we talked all about different stigmas related to bullying and what we can do as bystanders, even, or how we can step in without getting ourselves hurt, how we can stop this bullying spread everywhere. That was something small that I went with. And then we, as a part of NHS, the Secretary, I am Vice President or Co-Vice President of Service at our National Honor Society chapter. And for that, we recently did a step up challenge at our school. So we had everyone track their steps for a week. And for everyone who reached or surpassed a goal of 3,500 steps a day, we donated $1 on behalf of them to the American Heart Association. So I believe we were able to donate. I think we had so many people participate. I'm not sure of the exact statistics, because Larkin, you might want to talk about that. And And basically it was just like something that we want to always give back. So we find the little things no matter what. So even though we were virtual, we still had so many people participate and just be a part together. So yeah, that's basically it.
And if I could jump in just for one more second, I want to mention one really quick thing that I just did with my focus teacher, which is Miss Krauser, one of my favorite teachers. we we participated in a wonderful donation type thing where, or no, it was a pen pals to give back to different elementary school students who probably haven't been able to hang out with their friends in the past couple of weeks, actually almost probably the past year. And so we wrote little notes saying, "Hi, my name is Seth. I'm a 12th grader." And so we tried to brighten their day. And we also did this for, I believe it was elderly people at retirement homes. I believe student government hosted that. And so again, OEC's typical goal is to give back to our community because they give us so much and we don't want to take that for granted.
Thank you. So you can see that giving back is definitely ingrained in the OEC culture, and really becomes a part of who our students are and our staff is as well. I'm going to talk just briefly about a typical day. I don't go into too much detail with this because it's important to know, but one of the first steps in applying to OEC is to set up a family meeting. And so in that family meeting, I will go into more detail about what the typical day looks like and what a typical schedule throughout the 5 years would look like as well. This is pre-pandemic and a schedule that we will likely go back to once we are in a full-time schedule again. Right now, we're currently in a hybrid schedule. So we have 2 groups, an A group and a B group, that rotate days that they come in. Our A group comes in on Monday and Thursday, and our B group comes in Tuesday, Fridays, with our Wednesdays being asynchronous throughout the district for every student. In the non-pandemic schedule or pre-pandemic schedule, it is, like I mentioned, 8 to 3. You can see Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, first, second, third, and fourth hours are all an hour each. So all of our students, if they have classes during those hours, would see those classes at that time. Then our students have lunch. Our students have a lot of flexibility and freedom at OEC. If they're driving, they can leave campus for a bit if they have a break and come back. Students can go to the OCC library when it's open. They can eat lunch outside. They can travel about campus. So there's a lot of freedom and flexibility in being a student at OEC. You can see that on Mondays and Wednesdays, the schedule looks a little different slightly from Tuesday and Thursdays, in that the 5th and 6th periods are blocked. So on Mondays and Wednesdays, 5th hour meets from 1 to 3. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 6th hour meets from 1 to 3. And that schedule has really been wonderful in terms of our students scheduling some of their college classes and having that larger chunk of time in the afternoon available. And so that has really been a great piece of the schedule. Fridays can be a little bit crazy at OEC. There's several different schedules that have existed in the past. Right now, like I said, we're in that 2-group cohort schedule, but we do have a schedule for our town hall Fridays. Town halls are essentially our family meeting time. So it's when the entire school would meet in the theater on campus at OCC. Right now we are doing those meetings via Zoom. It's really a time for school-wide announcements. We sometimes bring in guest speakers. We talk about important topics. Today we just had our February town hall and we had a presentation on Black History Month. So those are some of the things that students would see at town hall. Community time we mentioned. We also have some time that is specifically built in for community time on Fridays. And then previously our district used to have early release days. I'm not sure if we will continue that in the fall, but on those days our students were released early from school. Just to give you a brief idea of what OEC looks like throughout the years. If your student is accepted into OEC, they are making a commitment for 5 years. So our students attend up through 13th grade. And if a student enters in 9th grade, this is just an idea of what it typically looks like. It doesn't mean this is the case for every single student, because we really do tailor and individualize each plan for students. But if a student enters in 9th grade, they would have all high school classes in their first semester. In their second semester, they would take all high school courses and one college class, which is called CNS 1100, and it's an intro to college class. It really is a wonderful class. It's taught by our OCC counseling staff, and they walk our students through really the ins and outs of college and being a college student. If a student is entering in 10th grade year, first semester, they're going to have mostly high school courses, and their one college class would be that CNS 1100 class in the fall. And then from there, second semester, they'll likely have one more college class. You can see that as we go through the remaining 4 years, there's a credit range: 1 to 3, 1 to 5, 6 to 9, 10 to 13. Our students will receive a credit range from the high school counselor. So the high school counselor meets with our students each semester and says, you can take X amount of credits this semester, right? Or here's your range of credits that you can take. That is created on a variety of factors. It's how are students doing academically? How are they doing socially and emotionally? What commitments do they have outside of school? How are they doing in high school versus college classes? So there's several factors that play into determining that credit range for each student. As we move throughout the years, you can see that additional college courses are added to students' schedules. So by the time they are in 13th grade, our students are taking 4 college classes and 1 high school class, which is called 13th seminar. One thing to note is that we offer at the high school level really just the true Michigan merit curriculum, or credits that are required for graduation. So classes like civics, world history, American literature, algebra 2, those are the types of classes we offer at the high school level. We do not offer PE, health, or some other electives. Those classes would either be taken through the college, or PE and health can also be taken during summer school. So that is an option as well. One class that our students are required to take as an elective, Deepti mentioned this earlier, is called Focus. And in that Focus class, our students in 9th through 12th grade take Focus. Within Focus, there are so many different things that happen. There's a focus on social emotional learning. We bring in guest speakers. There are projects that the students will do within those classes. And so I will let each of them again speak to Focus and just a little bit of how the scheduling happens as you move throughout your years at OEC. So Deepti, go ahead and start us back up again.
So Focus, I'm very proud to know this because I learned that one person before me actually knew what Focus stood for. So Focus is an acronym that stands for Fundamentals of Cultivating Universal Success. I am extremely happy to know this. In my Focus class, we've covered so many different topics. So knowing that you have to take the SAT and ACT, my Focus teachers have covered so much prep for SAT and ACT, SAT and ACT tests, and then just showing us resume building skills, or like the pen pals that Seth was talking about earlier. That was also done through our Focus classes. It's like a small group that, like within your graduating class, and just within the school in general, you have a group of students that you get individually bonded with, just like talking about what you can do in, like Ms. Larkin said, in your social emotional health, in helping you helping yourself in the future. If you need any help in, like, honestly anything, it's almost like your own support outside of just your regular classes. So say if you're having trouble with certain things, such as just like organization or something like that, your Focus teacher is there to help you and help you succeed. So I think Focus is a really good addition. It's like a really nice benefit to OEC, because it's that one class that it's your support system, truly speaking. It's, you go to a public high school, you go to any other high school, or any school in general, you have your regular day, but you don't have anyone to go ask your opinion for. I mean, you could go to a counselor or something, but I think it's nice to have this specific time that can help you prep for anything you need. They cover so many things. It's almost like it's common to hear a question like, why can't they teach us this in high school, or why can't they teach us this in school? So for example, like paying taxes or something. That's what focus is for. They'll help cover the things that you don't normally think about or expect that you're going to learn. So yeah, I think focus is an amazing addition to OEC. It's something that really was attracting for me. So
That was an amazing summation of just what focus is at OEC. Great job, Deepti. Focus for me, especially in my 11th grade year, which was the first year I went here, was extraordinary. That's the only word that I can use to define what 11th grade focus was. And for the parents who are thinking, what is focus? Like, why should my student have to take that class? Honestly, I don't know where I would be right now or in my college career without focus, because last year when I was coming into this school, like I said, I came from a very large high school. So the drastic change of a giant school to a very small, not private, but family school was incredible. And it was because of the connections I made in my focus class and with my teacher and with my fellow students. And honestly, I don't know where my grades would be either, because 11th grade focus had given me so much SAT prep and ACT prep and college readiness tips and study skills and all those things that Deepti mentioned, the organization skills. It truly helps with, especially being at an early college, taking these high school or taking these college courses that are so strict with the deadlines and the criteria of what your assignments have to be. 11th, I could say 11th and 12th grade focus truly acts as I would even say a mental health check-in for a lot of students. It helps a lot with giving yourself like a break and a breather from the insanely almost difficult college courses or your or your life. It gives you a outlet to talk with your teachers and talk with your fellow students about your life, and it gives you mental health tips to deal with stress and anxiety. And especially last month, we focused on a lot of mental health tips for people with depression and people with varying mental health challenges. And so honestly, that's been extremely helpful for a plethora of different reasons. An incredible amount of students have found focus. I mean, Deepti mentioned it a lot, that focus is an incredible course, and I don't know where I would be without it. Go ahead, Miss Larkin.
Thank you. So to wrap up, before we get into next steps and answer questions, we often get the question, what do our students do after graduation? And the answer is they do everything that other students would do in other high schools. So we have many students that will attend a college or university after OCC and OEC. 92% of our students do go on to a four-year university. We have students that will enter the military. We have students that will enter the world of work. Some students will get their associate's degree in a specific field and start working within that field. And so it really depends on the student. These are a variety of the schools. This is not a comprehensive list. It's just a list of many of the schools that our students have been accepted to and are currently attending. So students that have recently graduated from OEC, everything from the public in-state universities like Central Michigan University, U of M, MSU, all the way to some smaller private schools like Spring Arbor, Hope. You can see Kettering there, Oakland University, MIT, Ivy League, HBCUs. There's all different types of schools that our students attend after OEC. So our motto is we do high school differently at OEC. You can tell just how passionate we all are. And again, I'm very new, but I am passionate about this place, and my passion grows as I am there and get to know the students better and the staff. And so that is why we talked to you for so long, but we are happy to answer any questions you have. Before we end, I just want to talk about next steps. So if you like what you hear and you feel like as a student, if you're listening, this would be a good place for you, or as a parent, you think this would be a good place for your student, we are accepting applications for fall 2021 through March 1st. That's really our first application deadline. We will open up again and we accept applications throughout. We'll be interviewing students all throughout the summer up until August really for acceptance for fall. We do have limited spots available, so it's always a good idea to get your application in as soon as possible. The biggest first step would be to schedule a family meeting. So you call the number on the screen to set a family meeting. It can be done at any time of the year. And that meeting is with myself and with parents or guardians and student. And it's really just to get to know each other one-on-one and help you understand and explain the ins and outs of OEC. The third step would be shadowing. Unfortunately, that's not an option in our pandemic environment, but we do have some virtual shadowing options available. We also have several videos that we're sending to families so they can get a good idea of what OEC looks like. There is a formal application that requires the student to answer some essay questions, as well as provide grades, attendance history, a transcript in terms of grades, and letters of recommendation or recommendation forms. And then finally, an interview. After the family meeting, you would call again to set up an interview. Interviews are for the student only. They are with myself, the high school counselor, Mrs. Bellairs, and typically 3 current OEC students. And it's really just a chance to get to know the student better, again, because we want to make sure that it's not only the right fit for the student, but it's also the right fit for OEC. So we hope that you like what you heard. We are very excited to talk to you tonight. And any questions you have, please type them in the chat. We are going to open that now, and we will answer any questions that you may have. So the first question is, are we able to see this recording on your website at a later date? The answer to that is yes. And we also have the recording from the previous date in February on the website. So if you want to view the previous recording, it's the same information, but a different student. So different perspectives, you are welcome to view that as well. How do sports work? So I'll take this question. So we are a part of West Bloomfield School District. And so because we're a part of West Bloomfield School District, our students are able to participate in sports at West Bloomfield High School. OEC does not have their own standalone sports teams. So if a student wants to participate in a sport, let's say your student plays tennis, they can try out for the high school tennis team and they would participate with the high school tennis team. The one caveat to that, and just being fully transparent, is that our students that do participate in sports have to be mindful of scheduling their college classes, because in full transparency, and this is going to sound a little bit blunt, but a college professor does not care if a student has a practice or a game in the evening and they're missing class for that reason. So it is possible we have students that participate in sports teams. There's just that additional layer of navigating the schedule and making sure that your classes are at times when you won't have practice or a game. Okay, so question is, if we are in the early college, we go to campus during our normal school days instead of our high school. Yes, so OEC is a standalone high school. So you would be an OEC student and you would attend high school on OCC's campus and take your high school classes on OCC's campus with Oakland Early College. And then the second question, I'll let Deepti, if you want to answer this one, and then the next one that comes in, Seth can answer. The question is, are the 6 classes all college level, or they're mixed, and what does that look like?
Definitely. So the 6 classes, so that not necessarily might not be 6 or 8 or whatever. So the 6 that we were talking about earlier, the first through 6th hour, it's as a freshman, it's most likely going to happen that you are going to have all of your high school classes, considering you haven't done any of the regular Michigan curriculum. So you'll starting as a freshman, you'll have 6 high school classes with 0 college classes in the first semester, but 1 in the second, which is the intro to college readiness, the CNS 1100. And then as you move on, so like currently I'm a 12th grader, so I have only 1, which is my focus class, because I finished all other Michigan curriculum. So I only have that 1 hour of focus. And then the rest of the time I have 4 other college classes. So it's not necessary that there are 6 classes, but that 1 hour is definitely like stuck there. If that answers your question, you can let me know if that didn't.
Thank you. Okay, next question is, yes, that did, Deepti, good job. I'm going to answer this question with Seth. So the next question is, so staying through grade 13 is a must, i.e. can't leave after 12th grade. That is correct. Staying until the end of 13th grade is a must. Our students still have graduation requirements to meet in the 13th grade. So 13th seminar is a class that's taken for graduation. In addition, there is also an internship that has to be completed, and that is an early middle college graduation requirement by the state of Michigan. So if a student is an EMC student or an early college student, they have to complete that internship in their final year in order to meet graduation requirements and graduate with their high school diploma. So our students, by the end of their 13th grade year, will graduate with their high school diploma, as well as potentially an associate's degree or many transferable credits. Seth, can you just add maybe why students would want to stay until the end of their 13th year?
Absolutely. I keep touching on my parents' experience with OEC and the interview process in regards to that. And my father's first reaction to hearing that there was a 13th grade is, why is there a 13th grade? And honestly, now that I'm an OEC student and have been for the past almost 2 years, I can say that 13th grade is a very lucky year, honestly. All my friends right now are graduating high school with 0 college credits. And when I graduate high school, I'll be graduating with a minimum of my MTA and potentially even an associate's degree. So, and a majority of those credits, and I shouldn't say a majority, but a lot of those credits are going to be earned in your 13th grade year, because like Deepti and Miss Larkin both mentioned, you are only having 1 high school class in your 13th grade year, which is 13 seminar, which is basically building your resume and getting sending out resumes to colleges and scholarship opportunities, pardon me. And in your 13th year, that is your only high school course, and so you will be able to focus a lot of your time on your college courses and have basically the college life in your 13th grade year.
Yes, it's very much the college experience in 13th grade year. So if you imagine most students that would attend a traditional 4-year high school and would graduate at the end of their 12th grade year and going to college or university, they're taking college classes. Our students in their 13th grade year are taking college classes. They just happen to have this one additional high school class to complete for graduation. Any other questions that you have, please type them in the chat. We have a couple more minutes.
Miss Larkin, I did want to add one thing, if
Yeah.
that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, just to be clear, I think that was one question that my parents had. If I have an extra like 13th grade year, what does that mean? Like, do I still have to go to 4 years of college after this if I want to move on to college? So, for me, I finally figured it out after asking the person who I got inspired to come to OEC. So since my goal is to complete an associate's degree, so I'll have about 62 to 64 credits completed by the end of 13th grade. That means that the 120 some credits that you need to get a bachelor's degree, 62 to 64 of them have been taken away. Like you only have to do 62 more in your whatever 4-year university you go to. So as opposed to, let's put it this way, I save 1 year in time and 2 years worth of money. I think that's almost the easiest way to explain it. I'm saving 1 year in time and 2 years worth of money or tuition fees at a college. So that is something that may have been a little confusing for a lot of people. You are taking away your college courses that you would have to take at a university. And then as far as the MTA, Ms. Larkin, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it transfers to all public universities in the state of Michigan. So if you do want to go outside, it depends on the college. Outside meaning out of state, it depends on the college whether they take your credits or not, as well as private universities in the state of Michigan.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you, Deepti. Yes, that's very important to know. Okay, if you're still on with us, I see that our number really hasn't changed, which is great. So if you're still on with us and you don't have any more questions, we are so happy that you joined us tonight. Thank you so much for giving up some of your time to learn more about the amazing world of Oakland Early College. We appreciate your time. If you do still have questions, if you can type them into the chat, we'll stick around for a couple more minutes and answer questions that you have. I am not sure I understand the numbers. Do you get around 30 credits or around 60 max? So there's a range. The minimum number of credits would be 30, all the way up to 60 plus credits with an associate's degree. So it depends on the student and what courses they decide to take and how many they take each semester based on the credit range that we provide to them. So if for an example, we might say to a student, your credit range is 2 to 5 credits. So at a minimum, you have to take 2 credits. At a maximum, you can take 5. The student would then determine based on their goals, what they would want to take. They would sign up for their classes, and that's how those credits would add up over time. Might have already answered this, but what about sports? Nope. Again, if you attend Oakland Early College, you are actually an Oakland Early College student on campus. You would no longer attend your home high school, and you would be able to participate on West Bloomfield High School sports teams. Wonderful questions. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, additional questions, I will type my email right now in the chat. Please feel free to take a picture of it or write it down, and you can always email me with additional questions. And if there are questions that I feel like would be better answered by a student, I can forward them along to Deepti or Seth, and they can help us with the answer as well. We appreciate your time. And we hope to see some of you calling Oakland Early College to schedule a family meeting. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening. Huge thank you again to Deepti and Seth for joining tonight.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much, Ms. Larkin, for having us. And thank you for everyone who attended. I hope we were able to answer your questions to the best of our ability.